Hey guys, it's September 29th, 2023. I'm Kimberly from Fat Quarter Shop, and I have a ton of stuff to talk to you about today. I haven't been here in a while, so we'll be playing a little bit of catch up. But I wanted to let you know today our Moda sales rep is coming, and so today, starting later today, you're going to see all the new Moda stuff that you have started seeing on Instagram and Facebook by Moda designers. We'll start putting that online. A lot of it is pre-sold. We're going to have a new designer mystery block of the month that I'm going to talk about further in the live stream. It's going to be totally different than any designer mystery we've ever done. I'm super excited about it. So later in the show, I'll tell you more about it. I did want to let you know, since it is the end of September, today and tomorrow is the last day to get our monthly sales, which is Bead Dots, Clover Notions, Prairie Grass Patterns, and the Kaleidoscope book by Lori Holt. And one thing I'm going to show you kind of up front is our new block of the month with Joanna Figueroa. It's called Strawberry Garden, and you're going to see that online later today. We will have, this is a brand new book by Joanna Figueroa of Fig Tree Quilts, and so you can buy just the book, or you can sign up for the block of the month that will start in 2024. I will be sewing along with that, and you'll see more information on that in a future live stream. But it uses the brand new collection called Jelly and Jam, which will be going online later today for a pre-sale. The spooky box, so if you bought the spooky box, it has shipped out, so you should be expecting that in your mailbox any day. If you did not buy the spooky box, we put it online, the leftovers, at a higher price. And if you're somebody who likes to wait and see if you like it, I'm sure videos will start going out, and reveal videos, so you can check that out. Quilted Witch quilt kits have shipped out, so if you pre-bought that, that will have shipped out. Stitch Pink is starting October 1st, which is in 2 days, so I'm encouraging you to go to Moda's blog to see what they're doing. Ashley put a link to the National Breast Cancer Foundation that we are raising money for, and we will be donating $5,000 to that, and we will have projects for Quilt Pink later in October. But if you're in the giving mood, now you can donate to our campaign. So in this live stream, I'm going to be showing you some new sew-alongs that we're going to be starting soon. I'm going to show you ongoing sew-alongs that I've been working on. I'm going to show you scrappy projects, and I'm going to show you what's new at Fat Quarter Shop. So some of this is new. Some of it you might have seen before. Thank you to the Bathola for the super chat. She says, hello, dear Kimberly, happy fall. Yes, I wish it would be fall here in Texas. It is hot as fire, and I don't know when it's going to stop being hot, but I don't know. And then my son's football game tomorrow, it was supposed to be at 12, which is really hot, but now it's going to be at 3. So I can just tell you what's going to happen tomorrow. The UT game starts at 3:30. So I'm going to be sitting there with Kevin. Kevin will be watching both games, Christopher and UT. I will have no idea. And then Kevin will be like, did he make a block? And I'll be like, I don't know. Like, Kevin still hasn't, we've been married 20 years. I don't have a clue. I have no clue what's going on. And I sit there and I watch, but I really have to say, I don't know if they're doing good or not. I just say, oh yeah, good job. Okay, so Quilted Witch. I am going to show you my quilt, which just got quilted. So Maggie Honeyman quilted this for me, and you got to see it as I stitched it. And so if you bought the kit, it just shipped out. And I'll just put it on here so that you can see the quilting. So I asked Maggie Honeyman to put some really nice dense quilting, and it's got bubbles and swirls. And looking at the binding, now the quilt kit does not come with the vintage trim, but we added it. So this is an additional purchase, just so you know, that doesn't come with it. And this is what it looks like on the roll. And that is SKU STVT14768. So it's just an option. You don't have to buy it if you don't want to. So the kit includes the fabric and the pattern for the quilt top and the binding. The 108 that was pre-sold to go with it has not arrived yet. And so on the back, I put this SKU, which is wide back 9709 green, just so we could get the sample done. So that is my quilt, and if you bought the wide back, it'll ship later. The sew along will start October 18th. You will want to check out the Jolly Jabber blog, which is the Fat Quarter Shop blog. And if you didn't get in on the first round of kits, we will have more kits later next week. And this is the kit and how it comes packaged. It's tight because there's a lot of fabric. There's a lot of fabric in here. So it's just a ton of fabric. And this took a lot of time to package. So it comes nice and packaged, and we got it to fit exactly in there. So if you are doing this and you want to add the rickrack, just so you know, that's a different purchase. It is 76 inches by 89 inches. This collection is B dots, which I'm going to show you in a second. But if you want to make this where you use foundation paper, we do have a Quilted Witch foundation paper pad set. If you already have a lot of the triangles on a roll and a lot of the foundation paper, I would not buy this. This is just for people who, you know, don't already have that in their stash. And then the B dot collection came in stock, and so if you want to just see it, kind of how it looks, this is the half yard bundle. So we have the B dot in all of the pre-cut variations. So we have fat quarter bundles, half yard bundles, charm packs, 10-inch squares, strips. And then at Fat Quarter Shop, we put together B background, B dots, fat quarter bundles, and half yard bundles because a lot of you like to collect the B backgrounds from Lori Holt, or just in general her backgrounds. So we also have this as a cross stitch, and I'm going to be doing a stitch along with that in Stitchtober. If you have not subscribed to our cross stitch channel, it is Fat Quarter Shop Floss Tube, and I have started, and I'm going to be stitching the whole cross stitch the entire month. So I'm going to show you that in a second, but I definitely encourage you to go to Fat Quarter Shop Floss Tube and subscribe. And thank you to the super chat from Charlotte Jacobs. Oh, there's Piggy. And I'm going to show you the Quilted Witch cross stitch. It's huge. So you can see the detail in the dress is to mimic the little prints here. So for Stitchtober, I'm basically taking this cross stitch pattern and stitching it from October 1st to November 15th. And just so you guys know, I have stitched this, and I think these two stars, I did it on the plane when I was coming back. So I got a little bit of a head start, but I'm hoping to have page 1 done because, you know, page 1, 2, and 3 are going to be easy. The dress is going to take a long time. The Quilted Witch is not fat quarter friendly. I mean, you could start with fat quarters, but it definitely has a lot of different sizes that are in the kit. I mean, so you could start with that, but you definitely won't be able to finish with that. So I hope that you guys join me in the Quilted Witch quilt along. And I'm going to show you now something new that we kind of teased but haven't gone into detail yet. So we are going to start the Petit Four quilt along. So Jordan's going to show you a picture. So starting next week, I am going to show you how to make the courthouse steps block. So from October 2023 to April 2024, we're going to sew this. And what it is our 4-inch foundation paper pads. He's going to show you the backing real quick. Okay, so in October, you're going to make 8 courthouse steps in the 4-inch. In November, we're going to make 9 economy blocks in the 4-inch. In December, we're going to make 12 log cabin blocks. January, 8 pineapple blocks. 12 snail trail in February. And then 25 sparkle blocks in March, which is for the backing. So if you don't want to do the backing, you don't have to buy this one. But what we're offering you is a 4-inch foundation paper pad set, which includes this. So that actually is just a set. It doesn't, you know, you can just buy the set. It doesn't have to go with this. Right now on the Jolly Jabber, you can download the 4-inch Petit Four Quilt Along information. It has the quilt layout. It has your fabric requirements. It has the date and what you have to make. It has all your notions, because you do need the papers. And then it gives you the cutting and the layout. So it's got each block name here. And then here is one that's a coloring sheet if you want to kind of color in what you want to do. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to be doing. So the first thing I do is we color this. So I think Jocelyn colored it. And basically I pick the collection and I color it, and then this is what I'm going to go from. We are going to be doing videos once a month, and I'm going to give you tons of tips of working with foundation paper because I love it so much. Now, one thing that will be useful is the Kimberly's foundation paper piecing starter kit. You don't have to have everything, but I will tell you, you really need size 90 needles, and you really need this add a quarter. I'm going to be using the seam roller and the glue pen, but if you don't have those and you don't want to buy them, you definitely need the size 90 and the add a quarter. And I like the one that's the plus because it has the little grip, and I'm going to be showing you how to use those throughout. So what I am using is the Blueberry Delight by Bunny Hill Designs. And this fabric collection is arriving in October, so hopefully it'll arrive any day. And this has blues, creams, and browns, and I took the browns out. I'm just going to be using the blues and the creams. Oh, sorry, just the blues. I'm taking the creams out. And so you need 2 layer cakes for that. For background, because the fabric collection hasn't arrived, I'm using 20457-21. That is called Eyelet Snow White Yardage by Joanna Figueroa. I think it matches perfectly. So we have some of that yardage left, but once it's gone, it's gone. So I've ordered enough for mine, and then if you're going to use Blueberry Delight, all you have to do is wait for that background to come in stock. But I'm using a fig tree for now. And I'm using a dark blue for my binding, 3039-19. It's not in stock yet. And then I'm using the same eyelet for my backing. And so I'm only using the blue in the collection, but we starched everything. So basically what I'll do is take all of these out and make something else out of them. This finishes at 32 by 32. And again, these are the 4-inch pads. So when you look at them, they're really small. So you can see that snail trail gets really small. Some of them are easier, some of them are harder, but I'm going to give you tips each time. Now, sometimes my tips will be different, sometimes they will be the same, but this will kind of turn into my Sew With Me series. So the first one will be the log cabin or courthouse steps, which I love the courthouse steps and the log cabin. Now, I want to show you some other collections that you could use if you want to see. So this one right here is Bountiful Blooms by Sherry and Chelsea, and you would just look at your fabric requirements, and like I said, 2 layer cakes. The layer cakes are now in stock, and that's the front and the back. Good News Great Joy is available now. That is a Christmas collection by Fancy That House Designs and Moda Fabrics, so that's the front and the back. And then Fruit Cocktail, available now by Joanna Figueroa Fig Tree Quilts. That's the front and the back. And then Peachy Keen, which I personally love, and that just came back in stock. And if you want to see any of those images, those are available on the Jolly Jabber. So those are our current sew-alongs that are about to start. Quilted Witch later in October, Petit Four next Friday. Now I'm going to show you my ongoing things that I have been sewing throughout the year. We've got the Temperature Quilt Along from 2023. And this is the one where I use the One Fine Day Fat Quarter Bundle. And so I have stitched, let's see, September 21st. So it's a high and a low, a high and a low. And so you can see, this is January over here, and then it, on the left is January, and on the right is further in the year. And you can see all those blues and greens, and then da, 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 red, pink, hot, hot, hot. So you can see where it got really hot in Texas. So, and I'm just adding the rows as I go. So that one is basically, I guess, 75% done, because we only have October, November, and December left. So all the information on that is available on our site. The next thing I've been sewing is Designer Mystery 2023. So the first thing I'm going to show here is I'm going to talk about the 2023 Designer Mystery and what I'm doing. And then I can talk about 2024. So right now the 2023 block of the month is sold out. We do have some backing sets and some finishing kits left, but the blocks are sold out. Now this year what I've done is I have made the block in 12-inch, 6-inch, and 3-inch. And Jordan's going to pop up the image that we have on the blog. This is your cutting if you want to turn the 12-inch into a 6-inch and a 3-inch. That will be on Designer Mystery Facebook page, and it will be on our blog. Okay, so for this one, this is block 4, and I will tell you that these two came out great. Doing this 3-inch, do you think you can zoom in? Is it possible, do you think? So you can see this hot mess. It is horrible. Look at it. You can't even, like, it is, this is so small. Like, it's a mess. So this one did not, you can see it's kind of wavy. This one did not come out great. And I even tried to fussy cut that, and that did not come out great. So I even used seam align glue. I pressed open. Look at that hot mess. It couldn't, this wouldn't even go flat. It's so many seams. It's horrible. So this one I will say is maybe a little too advanced for this 3-inch. Now when I was doing this one, because I'm using leftover fabric within the block, I had to use background from previous blocks. I didn't have enough. And then I pinned, I used the Eleanor Burns Flying Geese method. This is a hot mess, horrible. Now this one, we're only giving the finishing for the 12-inch, not these. I don't know what I'm gonna turn mine into, but just so you know there. So this one is the Sunnyside collection by Camille Ross Kelly from Moda Fabrics. This block is designed by Corey Yoder. And again, I have this all done, but you can see how I fussy cut this in the center? I think by the time I got to this block, I was just like, oh my goodness, I can't even get this right. So that's block 4. So this one finishes at 72 by 93. It started in June. It ends next May. Starting next year in June of 2024, we're going to be using this collection, which you will see today. It's called My Summer House by Ann Sutton of Bunny Hill Designs. And this is a totally different look than we've done before. So I'm going to first show you the blocks, a tease, and this will be online for sale later today on the What's New page. So the blocks, we sell this in 3 sets. So the first way we sell it is the blocks, just the 12 blocks. So you can sign up for that. The next option is you can sign up for the finishing kit. Now here I want to talk about it. This is different than we've ever done before. We've always done 12-inch blocks. There's still going to be 12-inch blocks, but all of the 12-inch blocks are houses. They will change slightly each month, but the inside where you see that cream, that's what's going to change out. So it's more of a novelty. So you might see a dog. You might see windows. It's basically really cute, really different, but it's 12 sampler blocks designed by Moda fabric designers. And it's very creative and it's a very comforting quilt. It will start in June 2024. Next year, very important, no alternative sizes. That will not work with what we're doing next year at all in any way. I will be sewing along with all of you guys, just like I just showed you my 3 blocks, except I'll be showing you 1 block. Now, there will be leftover fabric and I will do something with it. It's way too early in the process for me to commit to what I'm gonna do because I'm always changing my mind. And if I told you what I was doing today, I'm not gonna remember that in 2 days. There's no way I'm gonna remember it in a year. So Designer Mystery 2024 will be online later today, and now I can show you the backing. And that's the backing. So I hope you love it. It took us a long time to design. The first block is by Ann Sutton, and I am really excited about it. I think you guys will love it. I'm gonna actually open this so you can see some of the fabrics because really pretty, and it's a different colorway than we've done. So I will tell you, sometimes it's really hard to change up our programs because we keep everything within the same month. And the reason we do that is we like it to be consistent. Well, the same designers release things each year in the same month. So it becomes hard to change it. But this one, I love the fabric. It's so cute. And so you can see the houses, so you can kind of see we played with Anne's design and took inspiration from her fabric. And this is a white on white. Now next week I will be showing you at the end of the live stream all of the Moda releases. So you can see it's a really nice palette. It's kind of a light blue and a light pink, very soft. And the red is just perfect. And we've done, Jocelyn did a great job working with the designers to get the quilt amazing. And the houses are a small scale. So you can see that scale. And then this one is your backing. So I hope you're excited about that. I don't think it's online yet. It will be online later today. And I will be sewing along with you guys. Now this one, we ordered this so now we're in September. By December, I have to order that entire program. It doesn't ship until June. So sometimes we sell out. That's why, because there's 6 months and I don't know what's going to be bought in 6 months. So you have to kind of be ahead of the game on that one. So now I'm going to move to new things. So hopefully you guys have noticed that Moda Blockheads is on their 5th year. I think I've sewn every year. I decided to stitch mine in Old Glory by Layla Boutique, which is not coming in stock until February. The reason I did that is I've made so many quilts this year. I've already used all the Moda collections I wanted to use. Now, as a hint, I will be using the Vintage Christmas book for my setting. Page 124 and 125. I'm going to be using this for the blocks that come out at 2023, which is they're basically calling Moda Blockheads set 1 and set 2. So all of this will be Moda Blockheads. So that's what I'm using as my layout, and I'm going to talk about the first 3 blocks that have come out. Now for the background, I'm using the white on white that's from the collection. It's a star. Hopefully you can see it. Yeah, you can see it right there. I'm pressing open to make it easy. From this set, they are offering 6-inch and 12-inch blocks. I have decided I'm going to make 5 6-inch blocks and 4 12-inch blocks, and then I'm going to put that in my setting. So I'm going to show you the first round is from September 6th through November 15th. You can find all of the information on Moda Blockheads on the Moda Fabrics website and the Moda Blockheads group in Facebook. So this is the first round. This one is meant for a smaller project, so I am going to use Old Glory. Patterns are available for free every Wednesday morning on the Moda blog and in the files section of the Moda Blockheads Facebook group. I'm going to show you my first 3 blocks and give you as many tips as I can. So block 1 was Bright Star by Betsy Chutchin, and I made it 6 inches. So basically what I did is I used H100, which is the triangles on a roll triangle paper. I pressed open. And one thing that I did change, if you look at this, this is 4 squares that are meant to be cut at, let's see, 2 inches square. Well, I didn't want to do that. Or whatever size, I can't remember what size they're supposed to be. I just cut a square in here and I put a 2.5 inch square in here. That way I didn't have to do 4 squares together. And I think it makes it look pretty because the star is not chopped up. So this is the first one. Yeah, I think it's 2.5. I think I have this to show you something else though. Oh, I'm so sorry. Block 2, Galaxy Star. Okay, this is Galaxy Star by Joanna Figueroa of Fig Tree Quilts. And so this one I chained piece to make my 4 patches to save time. I did fussy cut my center. So just talking about fussy cutting, I kind of put my ruler where I had the little heart, not the heart, the flowers in the center. And just kind of when I do that, I just kind of think of what's not going to be within this 1/4 inch seam. So I fussy cut that. And I made these pieces right here oversized. So I cut these 3 pieces bigger and then I trimmed down with a CGR2. So that's block 2. Now block 3. I don't know how many of you made this yesterday, but I saw a lot of comments on social media. So I am going to try to give you tips so that you can be brave enough to do it, because I was very scared to do it, to make it. I use the blank foundation paper that you can just cut it down to fit in your printer. My first tip is, whatever you're doing, use foundation paper, whether it's our paper, Kim Deal's paper, or C&T's paper, but it's a thinner paper and it's going to help you, because if you do this on regular printer paper, it's not going to work. So that's my tip number 1. Okay. So the first thing I did, trim your paper down to 8.5 by 11 to fit in your printer, and you print your templates. And then we're going to show you what I did, how that looks. And that's how it looks printed. Once it's printed, you can see, I'll move these out of the way and show you. So stay on that. So you can see G is for gray, W is for white, B is for blue, and G is for gray. So I sat there and hand wrote that, because once you cut that apart, it's not going to look the same. Now that doesn't match exactly here because it's flipped. So that's a whole nother thing. But I basically hand wrote what the colors are. Then I cut them apart, making sure not to cut on the dotted line. And then I sewed each section. So what I want to show you is that one right there, that one right there at the top. That's on its own. I did one of those first, and you can see gray is on gray, W is on white. Now at the top, you can see how right there, I didn't trim it down because that's the edge of the block. So I trimmed that at the very end. So that would be your first part, is to try one of those. You have to press to one side, leave it there. Your next step is to come over here and try this one and this one. And you basically do 2 units, put them together, and at that point I did press open, and you can see that right here. And see how it's gray, white, white, blue. And then you can see at the top, right here and right here, I didn't trim. I left that open and I put something right there. I think that said don't cut. Who knows what that said. And then you go and then you do the second one. And then you just keep going. So I kind of did that slowly. And this is what you get. So I really enjoyed doing it. Will I ever make this block again? No, I will not. Let's be honest. But I loved it. Like, I loved making it because it challenged me. And I had to really think through, how do I get my paper? How do I get it in the printer? How do I, it's basically a mirror image. So unless you write the colors, you're gonna get lost. And one thing that was important was having this at a quarter ruler so that when I trimmed, it's not too bulky because it trims right at that 1/4 inch. And then I just pressed these open. But within the block, you can't press open because it just doesn't work with that paper. I did use Soline glue starting for my first piece. And I did, like I said, each unit I pressed to one side, and then as I put the units together, I pressed open. I left that outside edge uncut, trimmed at the end. And then one thing is, this is a little bit different than our normal foundation paper. You know, usually foundation paper, you just like add, like you're adding and it's even. Okay, this one becomes very hard to pull out because you've got pressed seams and it's kind of stuck in there. And this is also like, you know, you've pressed in there. So I used a seam ripper, got my paper and pulled it out. And I started from the center to the middle to the outside. And that's the easiest way to get the paper off, is start in the center. But you kind of have to use that seam ripper because of the way this is pressed and it's so small. So that's my tip to you. But let me show you all 3 blocks together. I think they're looking really nice. And I love that Moda's offering us something free. And I would love to see in the Moda Blockheads group, you guys be a little bit more positive and not so negative, because I feel like y'all are being really rude to Moda. I'm just gonna say it. Y'all need to be nice. These are free blocks. If you don't like them, don't say anything, just do them. I just feel like we're giving you something free, be grateful. But this is so fun. Like, and I think it's because I had to stop and just think. Like when I see something like this, I'm like, oh, it's like kind of like my memory. It's just automatic. I just know, oh, boop, 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 do it, you're done. This one, I was like, wait, how do I get it to work? So it really challenged me. I liked that it challenged me. And it came out really nice. Like I thought it was going to come out horrible because right here, see how all these are pressed the same way? I thought for sure I would have bulk and I didn't. So I was actually pleasantly surprised because I actually was thinking as I was making this, like when I was making this unit, I thought, oh, I can press open and keep adding. And then I was like, oh no, you can't. So yeah, it was kind of fun to try to do that. So if you haven't joined Moda Blockheads, it's not too late. They've only done 3 blocks. The first 3 I've done are 6 inches. As I go, I will show you my 12 inches and all of that. The next sew along we just started was simply Jelly Rolls Quilt Along, and on September 16th I did a live stream. Thank you for everyone who watched, and we did a video on the first block. Now that's going to be the only video we do on this series. So we're basically taking blocks from the Simply Jelly Rolls book. You find the fabric requirements and all the information each week. It's going to finish really big at 80 by 86. I am using Lighthearted Collection by Camille Ross Kelly. Now I'm going to show you, this is the block I did on film, I think. See, I can't remember. So when I went home, I actually did it that day. So I got these 3 done. And remember in the video, I said, oh, chain piece. Well, that didn't work on this one. So I felt really bad because that morning I had told you guys to chain piece. Well, when you do that, hold on. These wouldn't have worked. Let me get this out of the way so that I don't confuse you guys. So basically, my block would have looked like this. So I shouldn't have told you guys to chain piece because it didn't work on the stripe. But luckily, I have a stash of fabric everywhere. So I pulled into my leftovers from something else I had made and went in and just remade these so that it would be symmetrical. So I apologize for that mistake. This is a 7-week series. This is week 1. I'm going to show you week 2. Week 2 was the caramel blocks. This one I really don't have any notes for. I just think it was super easy. This one just went together really nicely. So this one, I did 3 reds and the greens, and I actually thought this would be complicated, and it wasn't. And the one thing is that I accidentally almost like put the wrong red with the wrong green. So honestly, this one was super easy. I just used, I mean, really have no tips. It was just so easy. Okay. And you can ask questions and I will get to them. Okay, now this one I made a mistake. So we'll see how many seconds it takes you guys to realize. And this one I did last weekend. So this one, I was kind of in a hurry and I needed to get to, I don't remember if it was a baseball. I mean, not baseball. My kids don't even play baseball. I don't remember if it was a basketball or football game, but I remember I had to be in a hurry and I was just like whipping through. And then I realized this is supposed to be 5 darks on the outside and 4 lights, but I made it opposite and I actually think it looks good. So I didn't redo it. So I think it's totally fine if you change things. When I did it, I was like, oh, it took me a while. Like I'd already made, I think, a block and a half before I figured it out, because like I tell you guys, I usually make 1 block, stop, and then make the rest. I was already into block 2 or 3 and I was like, why do I have these leftover extra squares? And then I was like, oh, because I did it wrong. And I was like, you know what? It looks good. Nobody's gonna know. So super fun, and sorry I made the mistake, but I think it'll be fine. Somebody is saying my 3rd block doesn't look like the picture, so I'm gonna kind of look at that real quick. I'm sure I just changed the colors. Oh, I know why. Okay, can y'all pop up that image where I put the little WG? We'll find it. Okay. It's because when you write your letters here, I wrote it as it looks. When it reverses, it flips the colors. So my gray, it reverses it. So it came out different on accident, because that's the way I wrote it and I didn't understand it, and I think it looks fine. But yes, that is why. It's something to do with the mirror image, and that's, but yeah. So I didn't try to do that. It just accidentally happened. Okay, so seasonal stitchy stars. We talked about this one when we released this pattern and you guys wanted to do a quilt along. So this originally was a cross stitch pattern by Lori Holt called Stitchy Stars. So she wanted to, with that cross stitch, we're making it seasonally. So we had already made Christmas and patriotic. So now I'm doing the fall and we'll be doing the spring next spring. And so she thought, you know, we should do this with quilting fabrics in some of her different collections. So this is all different mixes of her collections. This is the fall colorway. And Teresa made these blocks for me, I didn't have time. And so hopefully you guys are joining along in the quilt along. You can see that it's nice big pieces. And if you want to see, I'll put the block, so if you want to copy exactly how we have it, and we do have images on our blog if you want to make it exactly the way Lori placed the fabrics. And so in September we're doing fall, which are these. In October, we'll show winter blocks. In November, we'll show spring blocks. And December, we will show summer blocks. And we will have all of those quilted at the end of it to show you. Thank you to Susan Latimer Powers for the super chat. Thank you for all the inspiration. Your quilt patterns are the best. I appreciate your attention to quality, and they make quilting such a pleasure. Thank you. So this is fall seasonal stars. Each of the table runners finishes at 16 by 79, so it's a nice big and wide table runner, which I love. I don't like small table runners. Now in 2022, we started Sew Scrappy Spools Sew Along. So we're getting towards the end, and here are my blocks for the stars. And then So that was last month. And then stripes. Here are my blocks. And this is using the Calico collection that came out last year. So this one's we just made this so much longer. And really, this one, I just used seam align glue to make this work so that everything wouldn't shift. I did press open. I made these blocks over a year ago. And then here, when I do something like this, I usually make my strips a little bit longer and a little bit fatter and then trim as I go, and then it comes out the exact size that you need. This one started in January. We're going to finish it in December, and super excited to get this one quilted. This is one of my favorite fabrics by Lori, this little bee cross stitch, and I think it's in Alpine. Oh no, it's in Cottage. So we haven't forgot about that one. And then I have been sewing along with Primitive Gatherings on the Twilight Gatherings quilt along. So Lisa Bonjean has a book that came out years ago called Triangle Gatherings. And she's doing the quilt along with Rustic Gatherings and Spellbound. And she's basically she's going in and out of order. So she's just going like maybe block 80. You know, she's going out of order. And she's doing 2 blocks per week. It started June 15th. Now, I decided to do mine a little bit different just so that I knew that I could stay on track and not get too, sometimes I overcomplicate things. So what I did is I am using Harvest Moon by Fig Tree Quilts. I'm using 1 background and 1 print per block to make it easy. I'm using her book, but I'm going in order. So like I said, she's jumping around, I'm not. Now I'm gonna give you a little hint and tell you, I ran out of my background because I made some blocks wrong. I couldn't find it anywhere. I finally found it in Canada. It took a month to get to me. So I'm so thankful that I found the fabric so that I will be able to have all 100 blocks. So I am gonna show you blocks 25 through 36. And then if there's any mistakes in the blocks, you guys can let me know because I make these fast. So that's 25, 26. And like I said, I'm making it easy. 1 background throughout and 1 print. 27 and 28. This one is crazy. I really don't like this one. I might at the end, I don't know that I'm doing the layout different because her blocks actually have more to it. I really simplified this so that I love to support my designers and do stuff with them, but sometimes I have to simplify it so that I can actually finish what I'm doing. So I simplified mine. If there are any blocks that I can take out, I'm taking this out because it's ugly. Yeah, it's ugly. So that one's probably gonna go in the trash. But I probably can't make anything else because I'm out of background. This is 29 and 30. So hopefully there's no mistakes. I did use triangle paper. I used H100. These are all 1-inch finished. 31 and 32. And huge thank you to my son, Will Jolly, 33 and 34. He actually takes all the paper off. I press the triangles to one side. He does the ear clips, and then I press open. So he actually spends a couple hours each month helping me. So this is 33, 34. 35, this is probably my favorite one just because it's simple. And 36. So I'm doing 2 blocks a week. Straight layout, probably no sashing. Obviously I reserve the right to change my mind when I get to the end. But basically to do this, what I do is I just do the next 12. So this weekend I'll do 12 more blocks. That way I have 12 blocks all done for October. And will sit with me in my sewing room with Piggy, pull the paper, I'll press. And I actually have to try to keep up with him because he's really fast. But if you guys see any mistakes, let me know. And for the triangle gatherings, I used 1-inch finished triangle paper, and basically my blocks finish at 4.5 inches. I'm just gonna check to make sure. Yeah, 4.5 inches. So I just use H100 to make it easy. I also ended up, I know I talked about this earlier, but I used a lot of collections, and so I needed a small block because I was using older collections that I just had snippets left of. So kind of pulled from my stash. So next month in October, I'll show you the next 12. Can I choose a block size for triangle gatherings? Yes. So this book is just layouts only. It doesn't have anything about sizes. If you go to Primitive Gatherings blog and Lisa Bonjean's YouTube channel, she has lots of details on what she's doing, which is different than what I'm doing. Thank you to Teresa Erickson for the super chat. I kind of just sometimes do my own thing, and usually the designers are okay with it because I'm trying to support them, but I'm always changing things, and I think that that's great. I'm trying to encourage you guys to change things. Just because it's one way, you don't have to keep it that way. Next, I'm going to show you Barnstar Sampler, which we started in January. This is the Shelley Kavana book called Barnstar Sampler, and these are September's blocks. This, I used a combination of Simply Delightful and Sunwashed collections, which I'm sure are now sold out. This, I'm using my white on white that I love. It's going to come back in stock in November. It's 20708-36. The finished size is 80 by 100. On this block, I used triangle paper for these, which is H300. I used square and a square paper for this. I pieced it just like normal, except for, you know, adding my stuff. And then this square and a square paper is amazing because you see how all the points match. That's the only way. Square and a square I could never do without the paper. And then what I did is these two outside rectangles, I cut them much bigger and then just put a CGR 16, which is a 16.5-inch ruler, put it on there, lined up the center, and trimmed around. So this one I just made the block like normal and was able to just trim down with the outsides. On the Simply Jelly Roll quilt, I am using the Lighthearted collection. The next sew along I am working on is A Quilting Life by Sherry McConnell. Sherry and her daughter Chelsea have a really cute YouTube channel called A Quilting Life. You should check it out. This is their free block of the month for 2023. This is September's block. And you can see I did two different backgrounds here. I originally drew it with having a lot more of the dot and just a little bit of the white. And when I laid it out, this is my electric quilt drawing, I didn't like it. So I recut these and added it in. I thought it was a little too deep here, so it's always great to change your mind if you want to. I used triangle paper 3-inch finished for these and 6-inch finished for these. And that's just something that I just kind of instinctively know how to do, but this is kind of how I start out, and then I change things. So, you know, it's okay to change. And this is a completely free block of the month in 6-inch and 12-inch sizes. So if you're working on the Moda Blockheads and you want to change out a block, you can always use one of Sherry's free blocks. Coriander Quilts. This is a free pattern available on Corey's blog, which is corianderquilts.com. I'm using the Sunwashed collection. It started with jelly rolls. This started March. It finishes in less than a month and finishes in about 3 weeks. It finishes at 69 inches square, and here is my block of the month. This is block 6 called Sunny Sawtooth Star. And when it's done, I have finished all of these. This one's been really fun because it was really easy. So this one is all ready to go. The next sew along we're doing, we have Teresa sewing along with us. This is the Christmas Eve Jolly Holiday Quilt by Layla Boutique. We are almost sold out of the kits. So this is where we're at on the sew along, right here. This is how much, if you're sewing along with us, you should have done. This is what Teresa's done so far. So this is the center, and then I'm going to show you some blocks that go up around the side. So here's some gifts. Some more gifts. All that's left is the holly berry corner units and assembly. So you can see the center's done, the gifts are done. All that's left is this and the outside. But this one, I love this one. So I actually, so excited to see these blocks because I really wanted to be able to make this one. I think this is the cutest one. It looks like a little TV, like, you know, the old school TVs from the 70s with the antennas. And you used to have to go, like, move the antennas. I'm showing my age here. Super cute. So hopefully you guys have been sewing along. Now we're going to move to scrap quilts. So these are, most of these are free patterns and just things that I do to use up scraps just to have extra quilts. So for 2023, our free pattern is called Star Streams, completely free at Fat Quarter Shop. And I made some more blocks. Strawberry Lemonade, Old Glory, and Vintage. And I'm only 70% done. I am using the same background throughout, I think. Or I might have just used the same background on these. I can't remember off the top of my head. Do you think I'm using the same background throughout? I don't even remember. Yeah, I am. I'm using the same I'm using the same background. I'm using 29134-11. I think it's sold out now. So I made some progress on this one. Great way to use leftover squares. From the Scrappiness is Happiness book, this is going to be my third Scrappy Strings quilt, I think. Maybe it's my second. I think it's my second. So let's see, this is Strawberry Lemonade by Sherry and Chelsea. Old Glory. Layla Boutique. Vintage by Sweetwater. Julia by Crystal Manning. Honey Bloom by Three Sisters. And Ridgewood by Minnick and Simpson. So I am going to make this one bigger. The block in the book, I think it's like 80 blocks or something. This one I'm going to do 10 by 10, so it is huge because my kids will love it. I have one right now. What I like about it is you sew on the Lori Holt interfacing, and I add batting, and so it's nice and thick, and it's kind of crinkly because you can, when you're feeling the quilt, you can kind of feel, I like the way the texture is. So I'm going to keep making these. I'll probably, I already wrote down for 2024, making another one for next year. For my log cabins, I am just making 6-inch log cabin blocks. These are those same collections, and I just got some more blocks done. While I was doing these, I got excited and I was like, oh, I love log cabins. I gotta make more. I need to make more stuff, right? I gotta keep adding. And I thought, oh my gosh, this new 4-inch paper that we're about to use in the Petit Four Sew Along, I love it so much. So, can we zoom in? Because I'm so excited about these. Okay, like I talked about earlier, when you're using this paper, especially the 4-inch, it's so important to use a size 90 needle. Because you really got to when you pull that paper off, you want to make sure your stitches don't come out. So I was like, I got to figure out a way to make this. So this is something new you've never seen before. I'm adding it to my rotation. So I'm only going to use collections that have 5 colorways. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is Lighthearted, Hometown, Strawberry Lemonade, Bountiful Blooms. So I'm just going to make these. This is probably going to take me 2 years to make a quilt this big. And I might not even turn it into a quilt. I just want to make them. It's so fun. And I just love it. So I just thought, oh, these are so cute. So this is just something new that I came up with. I have a pop-up of how I lay those out. So that little spreadsheet at the top right, that's like my to-do list. But basically I color it. If you see that block right there, that's colored in electric quilt, which we're going to have a tutorial on soon in October. And I'm running out of breath, sorry. So I kind of color it to see. And when I colored it and I went to sew it, I was like, you know what? That white is just not going to look good. It's going to be so small, it's going to take away. So I changed it, and you can see below where I changed it. So I kind of start with the guide, and then that's kind of what I go off of. And that one eventually became this one, I think. Okay, Bitty Brick House, I've been working on all year. So I still have a lot of blocks to go. So Sweetwater, Layla Boutique, Sherry and Chelsea, free pattern from Fat Quarter Shop called Bitty Brick House. They finish at 6 by 6.5. And I feel like my scrappy quilts are never going to get done. Like, I'm just like doing the same thing over and over and over and not getting anywhere, except with Threadbare. I'm all done. So my blocks are done. Teresa's going to put them together into a quilt. So I got all of them done. This finishes at 76 inches square. It is a pattern by Camille Ross Kelly. So I'm going to show you. These are from Old Glory. This is Bountiful Blooms. This is the collection by Crystal Manning. This is Vintage by Sweetwater. This is Sweetwater. I did fussy cut this one. This is that Crystal Manning collection. I think this is Sweetwater. Oh, okay, so there's my blocks. Now we're going to add these to the stack that I've already done. We're going to put those together. I'm not sure about border yet. So, oh, we're going to do border. We're going to do that same background. And that is a Bella Solid Color 16740-200. Now for the back, what I did is I took a Sweetwater label, added fabric around it, and that's going to be the very center of my quilt. I have not picked my binding or my backing yet. And that one finishes at 76 inches square. And all the blocks are done. So that's exciting. Rail fence. This is something I started earlier in the year. You can find this free guide either on fatquartershop.com or the Jolly Jabber blog. And from those same collections I just showed you, I was able to make some blocks. I think I made 14. So it's just those same collections. So basically when I have leftovers, I just turn them into whatever I can. Oh, my poor block. So super cute. Now this one, I'm going to do 144 blocks. So I'm doing this large lap. That's 12 blocks by 12 blocks. So I still have a long way to go, but they look so cute. Layer Cake Loop was a video that we did September 1st as my Sew With Me. And with this, I talked about how I don't use a lot of low volume in my regular quilts. I don't like them mixed. I have a hard time mixing busy prints like this in my star blocks. So for example, in a block like this, you can see I use darks and a light. I don't use any of these, so I end up with all kinds of low volume busy prints that I haven't done anything with. So I'm challenging myself to make something with them. You saw earlier in the year I did a low volume economy quilt. On September 1st, I'm making the Layer Cake Loop in the lap size. I used all of these leftovers, and so on video I did this, so you got to see this. And I finished all the rest of my blocks. So I'm going to show them to you real quick. And then you can kind of just see how they look. So I just tried to mix, you know, designers collections, and then that'll just be kind of like a lap quilt, but it's just a way for me to use up what I have, you know, make do with what you have and not, you know, get rid of stuff. So Teresa's gonna assemble these, and then we'll get it quilted by Maggie and then show it to you. And this is a free pattern called Layer Cake Loop. We have a free video, free pattern, and again, I'm making the lap size. I will say this one I don't love. I feel like that's a little too dark. So sometimes when I sew stuff, I'm like, ooh, I might not do that again. But when it's in the quilt, maybe I won't notice it. But also like that, you know what I mean? Like some of them just stick out, like that sticks out, but when it's in there, it'll probably just work right in. So hopefully you guys have made your quilt too. So those are my Scrappy. Now I'm gonna get to show you things that are back from the quilter. And this is a ginormous quilt. This one's 70 inches square that I'm about to show you. So this is a Summer Picnic from Susan Aki's book, Summer Memories. And I started this one, I can't remember when we started it, but it's now back from the quilter and I love it. So this one, Maggie Honeyman quilted, and what I wanted to show you on this one, see how tight this quilting is? This is how I love my quilting. It's so tight. So it's feathers, and let's see. I use the same border fabric, the outer border, as the backing. On my label, Teresa just put a label in the corner on this one. We didn't have enough fabric to center it. Like if I don't have enough to put it in the center, we'll just put it in the corner. So I love this one, super exciting. This one's gonna definitely go on on the back of a couch at in the summers. 70 inches square, Maggie Honeyman quilted it. This one is for Christopher. Hopefully he's not watching. So for Christmas this year, Christopher and Emma are getting quilts. Will and Peyton are getting crocheted blankets. So here is Slam Dunk. So he likes to play basketball, and I'm gonna show you the back. Well, how do you think we should do it? Okay, and then we'll do. Oh, can you see it? I can't tell. Up. Okay. And those letters are from Lori Holt's spelling bee book. So Maggie Honeyman quilted it with basketballs, and it's kind of like a brown, but he'll love it. And then Teresa's putting the binding on, and so this is the All-Star Collection by Stacy Eastshoe. This is gonna look really good. Oh, and then this is that it's called Fireside Dark Gray 60-inch wide polyester. So Teresa on the back, we did 60 inches wide this way, and then I pieced, we'll turn it over. I pieced this. And then that way she just put a 60-inch here and a 60-inch here, and then I put my little label here. And you can see all this stuff everywhere, all this dust. That's what happens with Fireside. It's a little bit different than the Snuggle. It's thinner, but it's still soft. But compared to Shannon, there's a nap to it. So thankfully, Doug was with me when I made this quilt at retreat, because he was saying, you know, you have to make sure your nap goes the same way. And I would have had no idea. So there's Christopher's. And then to go along with it, I made an extra block, added, this is that same fabric that I use. It's Crossweave Charcoal 12216-28. The orange is Bella Solid 209. And then, so basically I made a block, added some cross weave, and then added an outer border, and then Teresa's turning it into a pillow. And on the back, I mean, nobody's ever gonna see it, but I used some leftover fabric that I didn't use on the front of the quilt. So this is one of his pillows. Now this next one, Lord Heaven Jesus, this is one of those quilts that she better use because it took me forever, and it is heavy and it is huge. So I turned this one, this is for Emma for Christmas. I made this into bigger than it's supposed to be, 94 by 95. So it's queen. It's huge and it's heavy and it's wonderful. And there's a mistake. I'll show it to you in a little bit. But it's heavy. Oh my gosh. Okay, on the back. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be out of breath. Hopefully I have it right. I did the same thing with her name. Okay, so this one was also quilted by Maggie Honeyman, and I love the quilting on this. It's got the Baptist fan with the heart, and you can see Teresa's working on the binding, so part of it's done. So I used the peach here. This is the Fireside Pale Gray. It will be coming back in stock in October. It's sold out. And I did that same thing on the back where I did her name with a stripe, and then that way you could just add the 60-inch here and here. And these are just from the spelling bee book. And then this is a cute little pillow I did for her, and it's just Teresa did the quilting on this, and it's just all quilted, and so hopefully she doesn't mess it up because it's just did we stuff it or did we use a pillow? I can't even remember. We stuffed it. Okay, so we stuffed it so she can't mess it up and she can't get it dirty or she's out of luck. So these are two of my Christmas gifts. Now I will give you a little hint and tell you that I've been working on crochet, and there's this yarn that I love, and I might carry it in our store. I don't know, it's kind of expensive, so I'm trying to decide what I'm gonna do with it. But I'm making Peyton's now because he's very easy with his colors. He likes green. So I was able to find like a, I don't know if you wanna say variegated yarn, but I was able to find a yarn that would work. And then with Will, he likes orange and blue, and I haven't found an orange and blue mix yet, so his next. Okay, 2023 Spooky Box. Like I said earlier, the pre-orders have shipped out if your credit card processed. If you didn't reserve your box, we have some available. It is a higher price, and this is a tease of what the quilt looks like. And YouTubers have already started doing reveals and unboxings, so if you're one, you know, and you want to have a, you want to cheat and see what's in it, you can do that now. For Bountiful, we raised $113,948. So we raised $83,000 from customers. Kevin and I are mailing a check for $20,000 to Make-A-Wish. Mark Dunn of Moda Fabrics is mailing a check for $10,000. And so super excited. Thank you so much for supporting the Bountiful fundraiser benefiting Make-A-Wish Central and South Texas. All of that money has already gone to them. It goes directly to them. So it's already been granting wishes all along. Now that we met our goal, we have this free pattern available called Here Comes the Sun. It's a bonus pattern. So you might not have seen this one yet, but here is the bonus pattern. This is called Florence's Fancy Collection, pieced by Nova, quilted by Joanna Marsh. And so this is kind of a reproduction collection that they used and then they put with Worker Chambray by Robert Kaufman. And there is her label, and she just pieced it on top of the chambray. And I'm thrilled to share with you the quilt raffle results. We raised $21,000 through the raffle. Our winners are Linda Brandt, Benicia Wilson, Marie McKee, Kathy Shaprinsky, Colleen Genovese, and some of these have already, you guys have already gotten back to us and they've already shipped to you, so thank you so much. Now I did want to share all of the people who made samples for the Bountiful quilt along so that we can give them back to everyone who made it. So this one is the Fruit Cocktail Collection. Teresa made this one and Joanna Marsh quilted it. There's the front and the back. Okay, so that one can go home. This one is the Sweet Liberty Collection by Brenda Riddle Designs. Angel made it. The background is Bella Solid color 98 and Joanna Marsh quilted it. This sample was made by Riley, and this is using the Beyond Bellas by Annie Brady from Moda. The background is Bella Solid 263, quilted by Joanna Marsh. And the Beyond Bella, just so you can see, it has like a hashtag on it. And then for the background, she just used a regular Bella without the hashtag. I'm going to be out of breath soon. This next one is the Sunnyside Collection by Camille Ross Kelly. The background right here is Crossweave color 11, quilted by Sarah Campbell, made by Carrie. Can you see the bottom? Up. So she did her backing a little bit different. And the binding on that is, she did a fatter binding. And those are all the quilts. And now I'm out of breath. Okay, so now we're going to show you next year's quilt. If we don't fall over. So 2024 charity quilt. It's called Moonbeams. Sorry, you're gonna want to, oh, and it's, I was like, what's on my toe? It's the quilt. This is the front. And this is the back. Okay, so I'll show you the front and the back. So you'll want to reserve your kit, and this navy right here is an exclusive print just for Fat Quarter Shop. And this one we will be sewing with you in 2024. We will be doing the charity sew along where I sew a block each week. So I wanted to show you something. Every year we donate to the Quilts of Valor Foundation, and we designed this night and day quilt pattern as a free pattern, and we used it with some Robert Kaufman batiks. And it does meet the Quilt of Valor standards for size. And Kathy, who has worked for us forever, I don't even remember a time that she hasn't worked for us. You probably have emailed with her. She runs all the credit cards. She wanted to sew and award a quilt to honor her father for his years of military service. So she took the night and day pattern. She's using Liberty Artisan Batiks by Studio RK for Robert Kaufman. This right here is it's called 7000-15. It's a Prisma die. And there are, if you're ever looking for like a basic batik. There are Prisma dyes in lots of different colors. She did alter the pattern a little bit to fit the Quilted Valor standards. So what you can see in the picture that we're about to show you is when you're looking at this pattern, to make it bigger, she added a column and a row. And so this is how far she's gone. We would love for you to go see the beautiful story of her dad. It is on our Jolly Jabber. And if Kathy inspired you, visit the Quilts of Valor Foundation and find out how to make a quilt for somebody in your life, or you could even just donate to Quilts of Valor. I told you I had a lot of stuff. We're not even close to the end, guys. Sorry. Hope you're still watching. Okay, Hester & Cook is a new designer for Riley Blake Designs, and they are coming out with monthly placemats. And they're coming out in different sections. So each month will include 1 panel you can buy and 3 coordinating SKUs. And there are also gingham coordinates available. But I wanted to show you what they made up. And all of these are available in this free pattern. It's called Monthly Placemats, Hester & Cook. You can get it at Riley Blake Designs Fabrics or Fat Quarter Shop. And just to show you, they show you different ways you can make it. So you can make it, and you're gonna see with or without borders, all kinds of different ways. So this one right here is the November placemat. It uses the option quilted with borders and binding. And so what you're going to see is this is the panel, this is the gingham coordinates, and this is one of the fabrics that's a coordinate. So this one also, the binding on this is on the bias and the borders on straight. So there are 6. So 1, 2, 3, and they all have different backings. 4, and this is the panel. So some of the panels have words, some are plain. 5, 6. So this is something fun that you can buy at a reasonable price to make some placemats. So these are the November placemats. That's one of the free patterns. December uses quilted with borders and binding, so that same technique. And the same thing, they use the gingham on the straight here and then on the bias on the binding, and that makes it where you can't, because if you put it on the straight, if it doesn't line up, it might look funny. So this is the December, again, panels, gingham, coordinates. And 3 of them are motifs, and then 3 of them are text in each month. Well, close. So this is the center part is your panel. And they are a designer. They make a lot of paper products. So if you look up Hester & Cook, you'll see a lot of paper products. Okay, so this is that same method. These are December's. January is different. January is just the panel with binding. So it says celebrate, so it's smaller. They didn't add any borders, and that's a coordinate. So this is more of a simple option. And like I said, 3 have text and 3 are just plain. And these are January's. And this is metallic. And I'll show you. I think they did all pink on these. That is a sparkle confetti coordinating yardage. February, this one is the panel with no binding. So basically, the instructions show you how to sew the back and the front right sides together and flip out with no binding. So this is February. And this one they made 4 instead of 6. But there are 6 panels. And I'll show you the backs. Now, so this is the first batch. The first batch I showed you had November, December, January, February. In January at Fat Quarter Shop, we will get the panels for March through June. In March at Fat Quarter Shop, we'll get the panels for July through October. So this is something fun. We don't have a club or anything, but if you wanted to, you could make placemats for all year for your home. So that's super awesome. For our Fat Quarter clubs for October, these are our solids for October that will be shipping out next week. They're purples. And we use the Sandpiper It's So Emma pattern. And I can show you Carrie's quilt, and this is her October block because it's now all quilted. So now you can see it all the way sewn up. And I'm not sure what backing this is. I don't even think we sell it. And now I can show you what's new. And we're about to fall over. Me and Denise over here, we're about to fall over. We're tired. Oh my gosh, we gotta hold a quilt. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is Upbeat. The pattern is available as paper and PDF by It's So Emma. We also have a quilt kit available. This is the Bountiful Blooms collection by Sherry and Chelsea. And I love this one because it doesn't have, it has sashing, but you can hardly tell. And it's very like bright. 68 by 68. The background is Bella Solid Color 241. Jocelyn designed this. Rebecca pieced it, and Joanna Marsh quilted it. And then I'll show you the back. And this is the brand new Sherry and Chelsea collection Bountiful Blooms that just arrived. And then there's the back. The next one is a brand new video that just came out this week called Fat Quarter 4 Patch. And so this is something great that is a free pattern, free video. You can just pull from your stash to make this. It finishes at 60 by 75. Very great for beginners. Designed by Jocelyn. Pieced by Sarah. Quilted by Quilted Connections. That's the front. This is the back. And this one is great if you have prints in your stash that are small scale, because if you do too big of a scale, your little white 4 patches will get lost. Our next new kit is called Foxtrot. It's an It's So Emma pattern. It's featuring the Flower Press collection by Catherine Watson. It's an It's So Emma pattern, so you can get it as paper or PDF. It's 68 inches square, designed by Jocelyn, pieced by Deborah, and quilted by Abby Latimer. So that is the front, and then they just picked a nice gray for the back. This is the last quilt. Okay, so we had a book we published years ago called Among the Stars. It was so long ago. It was written when my grandmother was alive, because I remember talking to her about it. This finishes at 64 by 84. So Pat Sloan took her collection and colored it with this. So this is made by Pat Sloan and quilted by Pat Sloan's quilter. Pat Sloan hosted a sew-along this year and last year, and you can find all the information on her blog and her Facebook page. And she mailed us her quilt so we can show it to you on stream. And I think the collection is Promise Me. And then she put this beautiful floral on the back. We have a new video that came out, hopefully you watched it, called Sunflower Dresden. It's a free pattern, and it shows you how to use Susan Aki's Flag Day template. It's flag tumbler template. And you basically sew this around. So I showed you in a video. So if I can do this, you can do it, because I'm not great at applique. And then Teresa turned it into a envelope back pillow. This collection is Sunflowers in My Heart by Kate Spain. Free pattern, template, finishes at 17 inches square, Piece by Terry, quilted by Joanna Marsh. Okay, we have some brand new art gallery bundles that they just came out with. I'm going to show you them. This is Spring Elements. And I'm going to flip through. Can we zoom in? I'm going to flip through them as I go. And these are basically their basics put together into bundles. So this is spring. So it's like their oval elements, floral elements. I can't think of all the names of them. Prisma elements. So this is spring, summer, fall, winter, so they did 4 seasons. So these are the 4 seasons. So we've got fall, winter, spring, summer. Spring, summer, fall, winter. So these are the, I'll put these aside, and this is how it would look if you made one quilt with all of it. It's the range of colors. That way we don't get them out of order. Okay, now they did bundles called Sweet Treats. They're all also those same elements. Floral elements, oval elements, squared elements. Okay, so this one is key lime pie. Macaroons, birthday cake, and again, these are all called Sweet Treats. Acai bowl. I have no idea what that is. My daughter eats it. One time we had a little incident. We went and got some of that, and I was like, I don't like this. And she's like, you're being a Karen. I was like, ah, it's fine. I don't care. Berry parfait. It was quite a few years ago. Strawberry shortcake. So some of these are duplicated within the different bundles, just so you know. PB and jelly. Oh, did I say that right though? Okay, I said it right. I was making sure. So this one's pretty fallish. And pumpkin spice. And then I'll show them to you all together. And start throwing in all your questions, because we're getting towards all the end of the what's new, and then I'm going to answer any questions that are in there. I'll answer. There is a delay of a minute, so if you don't get your question in and we end, I might not see it until the show ends. So those are all of the Sweet Treats. Yesterday we loaded Chateau de Chantilly by French General. So this comes in all the pre-cuts, but we just got the yardage in, and just so you know, some of the French General favorites came back in stock. They sell out quite a bit, and the solids are mixed within here. So that is French General Chateau de Chantilly. The much anticipated Peachy Keen. Oh my gosh, so amazing. I love this. So you saw this just made up in Emma's quilt. What I did on Emma's quilt is I took the green out. She actually worked with me to decide what color she wanted, and I took the greens out. So this is Peachy Keen, and the yardage will be coming in soon, but the pre-cuts are in now. Sweet and Plenty by Me and My Sister Designs is really nice and bright. Limes, aquas, grays, 2 colors of pinks, and lots of blacks and whites. Ellie by Brenda Riddle Designs. Love this one. I love the plaids in this one, and you probably saw a lot of my scrappy blocks made in this in previous videos. Main Street, I showed you some blocks, and I showed you a quilt in this just now, the 4-patch. What was that called that I just showed? 4-patch, the video. Back quarter 4-patch. And this is Main Street. Sunrise Side by Menikin Simpson, and I used a lot of these blues in the quilt that I showed you today called Summer Picnic. Flower Press by Catherine Watson, and you saw this one in an Itzoema pattern, all sewn up, designed by Jocelyn. Cadence by Crystal Manning. I don't think I showed anything made with this one. Backyard by Sarah Watts for Ruby Star Society. And this is a fat quarter bundle. They fold them differently so they look like half yards. And then Echo Park, we have some new, the It's a Boy flannel and It's a Girl flannel. So last year they came out with It's a Girl and It's a Boy, and it sold like crazy. Then they came out with flannels. So super excited about this. It's by Echo Park. Very, very cute. Priscilla and Chelsea's polka dots and stripes came in. So these polka dots are brand new. They've never been made before. The stripes have been made before, but there are new colors. So all the polka dots are new. And then the stripes, some are new and some are old. But I just mixed them together so that you could get all of them if you wanted. Stitching with the Housewives, and the manufacturer is Henry Glass Designs. Art Gallery, we got the collection called Juniper. It's kind of fallish. It's by Sharon Holland. It's got a lot of wildflower, wild nature. I don't know, go out in the forest. I don't know, my son's about to join Boy Scouts, I think, and I'm just about to have a heart attack. I told Kevin I would do one outdoor camp and see how it goes. And he said that he thought my email was hacked. Dandelion Wishes by Banyan Batiks, Karen Gibbs, really, really pretty. The Banyan Batiks, if you've never, I don't sew with batiks, but the Banyan Batiks are beautiful. Cocoa Blue by Laundry Basket Quilts, her traditional blues. We've had the yardage a while, but the pre-cuts just arrived. Renee Nanaman, she always has really beautiful collections by Andover. She's a designer for Andover, and this is called Trade Winds. It's kind of reproduction-y, and her collections always look different, but she always has a lot of backgrounds. So if you're ever looking for reproduction backgrounds, Renee Nanaman has a lot of them. Wish and Wonder by Timeless Treasures Fabrics. It's got stars, dots, and then really, really cute for nursery. I noticed lately, I was shopping at fatquartershop.com, and I noticed we don't have a lot of baby patterns, baby fabrics. We don't have enough, so I am stocking up so that we have more in stock, because I noticed we didn't have that as enough. Okay, new from Lori Holt. Okay, so like 3 years ago, we had the crazy paper in the 5-inch size. Now we have 10-inch size. Finally came in. The heart paper just came in, and this one, Lori is going to be hosting a sew along using B dots that I showed you at the very beginning of the show, and I'm going to be sewing along with it. I'm going to make some blocks and basically show you how it looks, so that in 2024 you know. But you don't need this. I think you need layer cakes. 2 layer cakes. I don't know. I'll give you more details later, but I'm so excited. I bought 3 packs, and I bought 2 layer cake so I could start making some blocks because I love this technique. And if you want a refresher, I'm sure she'll do one on her channel. If she doesn't, I will do it. She has a new binder called Beekeeper Binder. It's one of her really thick, wide, I think it's 3 inches. 3-wing binder. Let me see. I think it's 3 inches because it's one of her bigger ones. Some of hers are smaller. Yep, 3 inches. She has some new charms that actually have already got low in inventory. She's got a pumpkin enamel needle charm, cat enamel needle charm, and heart. And see, the cat and the pumpkin match the Quilted Witch that I showed you earlier. And she had the pink flower magnetic pin holder, and now it comes in the color sea glass. Okay, so I want to talk about next week. Next week, you're going to join us for our first foundation paper block for the Petit Four QAL. And I talked about that earlier in the show. And then I'm going to show you all behind the scenes Moda stuff that I'm seeing today for my sales rep. She's probably here waiting for me. I'm going to answer questions and then do the giveaway. How was CrimeCon? It was amazing. If you guys wanted me to do a video on just CrimeCon, I have like 50 pictures. A lot of people are just not interested in hearing about that. If y'all want to hear about that, I'm happy to just sit and do a live stream. I think only 10% of y'all would be interested. It was great. It was fun. And there were some memorable moments. I've always gone alone. But this time I went with Priscilla from Stitching with Housewives, and we had so much fun. We could not stop cracking up. Like, we were so bad. But we had a lot of fun. But if y'all want to hear about that, I can do a separate video. But enough of you have to be interested for me to do that. Will the Designer Mystery 2024 pattern be available without the fabric? Okay, so for Designer Mystery, what we do every year, we offer it as a program with fabric at the end of the program. So in June of 2025, those patterns will be available. So at the very end of the program. Can 2024 be scrappy? Designer Mystery? No. Does all the fabric come with it each month? Designer Mystery. Okay, so Designer Mystery. If you sign up for the blocks, you get the pattern and the block fabric. If you sign up for the finishing, you get all the fabric for the finishing, excluding the blocks. And then the backing is separate. Can we reserve Camille's new fabric collection? You absolutely can at Fat Quarter Shop right now. If you use the 6-inch paper, would 2 fat quarters be enough for the entire project?
That might be for Petit Four. Like if they decide to do a 6 inch.
If you want, okay, I think so. Probably enough to start. Can we share the progress on the foundation paper sew along on the Socialites Facebook site? I would share it on the Kimberly Stitch Squad. My favorite white on white is 20708-36. It will be coming back in stock soon. Barnstar Sampler is fat quarter friendly. Oh, yes. Why was there interfacing on the back of those blocks? Can I see that? And I will, there is instructions in Lori's book, Scrappiness is Happiness. And I'll show you. But the instructions are in the book. There's not a tutorial. But basically, what the interfacing does, sorry, I think my voice is going. It allows the block to stay stable while you're on the bias. Can you use jelly rolls with log cabin foundation paper? Yes. Do you keep all of your scraps for the houses and the blocks on the Lori Holt interfacing in separate bags? I like the way each block represents fabric manufacturer. I keep all my scraps together by collection, and then I try to use up as much as I can to make my blocks, and then whatever's left, I leave it by designer, and then my box has the designer name. How do you do all these quilts? Do you cut the same strips from every collection? I would like to sew all, but how do you start? So in one of those photos, sorry, my throat is really hurting. In one of those photos, you saw a spreadsheet. I make a spreadsheet, and I draw things in electric quilt, and I just give myself a to-do list, and I wake up super early, Like tomorrow, Christopher plays at 3, so he'll probably have to be there at 2. I probably have to leave at 12:30. I'll probably get up at 6:30, and I'll just sew for 6 hours straight. But I do have a list. I have a lot of lists. I do sometimes feel overwhelmed with the amount of lists, but I just very organized, and I just go. And my kids help me. So Emma helps me organize and fold when I'm done. She'll help me like put everything back. Will and Peyton and Christopher help me fold. Each of them have different quilts that they help me with, but they'll pull paper, all that stuff. Do you sort your low volumes and then piece them, or do you have another way? Low volumes, I don't usually keep leftovers because I don't use those in most of my quilts. So I use them in quilts up front with like the low volume, and I don't usually save the leftovers. Does Teresa hand sew the binding? Yes. What is the size of next year's charity quilt? I'm going to look. Okay, next year's charity quilt is 68 by 80, but next year's designer mystery might be, I don't know. You'll have to look on the website. Oh, it was, I answered it correctly. Okay, if I wanted to do Petit Four with 6-inch paper, what bundles should I do? Fat eighth or fat quarter? I would probably do fat quarter. Okay, so I have gotten through all the questions. I do have a meeting right now. I wanted to let you know we're going to give away 3 spooky boxes. So I'm going to tell a funny story, but Jordan wants to know what's your favorite scary movie because he likes all that scary stuff. I'll tell you 2 funny stories. Okay, I don't watch movies. If that might be something you already know about me. I don't watch movies. But when I was little, my Uncle John and my Aunt Bee, they lived behind my grandmother's house. Like you had to go down a path, like a gravel path, like not a road. But anyway, so me, my brother, and my 2 cousins, they were a little bit older. I was the youngest. We walked to my uncle's house. I was 7 or 8. We watched Poltergeist. Oh my God. I thought that the tree in the front of my house was Poltergeist for like 10 years. I swear, I slept in my parents' bed till I was in high school. It was ridiculous. Recently, I drove by my old house because it's very near here, and they chopped down the tree. Or it died. I'm not sure. Poor Poltergeist. That scared me to death. My parents were probably pretty pissed off at my aunt and uncle, but they're much younger than my parents. And then before that, when I was like 3 or 6, my grandparents were divorced at one point. So she lived a different place. And my uncle was still in high school. So I was like, before kindergarten. And it was a duplex. And I would go to my grandma's house. Used to drive my mom crazy. I would make mud pies. That means for real. She would sit me in the backyard with mud, and she would just make me do mud pies just to get out of her hair. One time I jumped off my uncle's, I fell off I think they pushed me off my uncle's bunk beds. I thought my grandma was going to kill them. But what my grandma used to do, because I was kind of bad. Like when I was little, I was bad. I was like really bad. I was hyper. I think I had ADD. So she lived by St. Edward's University. If you guys want to look that up, it looks like Dracula's castle. She literally walked me to that dang university because when she lived in that duplex. So she used to walk down there and be like, Dracula, he's at the top. He's going to get you. And my brother would go with me, and he would totally be in on the joke. Then after that, she moved back with my grandfather, and that's when my aunt and uncle lived in the back. And then we used to, anyway, my father didn't care, but my mother used to get so mad. Okay, so you have to put your scary movie in the comments because Jordan wants to see them, but you got to put them in the comments after we finish. I just had to tell my little funny stories about why I was scarred as a child. But anyway, yeah. So y'all have a great weekend. I'll see you next Friday. We'll be sewing. Make sure you have your size 90 needle. Make sure you have your add a quarter, and make sure you have a foundation pad. I'm going to be using the 4-inch, but feel free to use any size you want, and I will see you guys next weekend. Bye.